Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BSides San Antonio. Before we begin, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our platinum sponsors, Island and St. Mary's, for helping us make this event possible. We are also grateful for our sponsors, Alamo ISSA. I'll turn over the mic to Matt Nguyen as they discuss how to do malware analysis. Please give me a warm welcome to Matt.
It's an honor, truly an honor. All right, yes, I'm this crazy malware addict that just so happened to, do a presentation on malware analysis. But yeah, so I know a lot of us are very, let's just say, scared of malware analysis. I was like that too. I ran away multiple times until I was like, all right, until CrowdStrike opened up a malware triage position at, now where I work. And so at which point I was like, all right, screw this, right? And now I enjoy malware analysis, right? I use one tool that I'm going to be doing a little bit of demonstration in. But yeah, well, in that case, we'll just go ahead and get started. Now, what is malware analysis and why do we do it, right? This is kind of a big question. Malware, was it mal meaning malicious? Ware being software. Analysis is really just a skill. And so really we're analyzing, in this case, an application that looks malicious. And so the reason why we do it, it's so we find indicators of compromise. Right? There's the file showed up, right? And it's probably doing some funky, crazy things that we don't want. In addition, we also understand indicators of attack. And so that could be that some PowerShell script is running, as well as remote connections from an unknown address that we don't know about. And now just a little bit about me. Yes, I was at a conference this year, but I was also a former and founder and lead of a cyber club at Austin Community College. I helped lead the CTF team, where they ranked top 5% all competitions. I also moderate Ginger Hacker Community, so they're a cyber nonprofit that does a lot of certification prep, as well as provide vouchers for people to take those certs. In addition, I have analyzed around 20, 30 malware samples in my free time. My area of interest is mostly in incident response and malware analysis. Malware analysis being my bread and butter. And then if you want my bio, that's my blog and that's my LinkedIn. So now, so you're looking at, so a user sees something like this, right? And in their head is like, this is legit, right? And so this is a pretty good example of what phishing is. And so really, it's a lot of users today are getting social engineered pretty quickly, especially because they're asked to download or possibly click the download button. This will usually install a dropper of some sort that we want to be careful about too. And so it's sort of like, okay, how do we go about analyzing this? This email that I don't cover today, but I'm going to talk about applications. And so we go through a process. Well, before we go through into all that, you first of all need, for the most part, you don't need any prereqs, but you should have some foundational understanding of coding, right? Unfortunately, I mean, we're analyzing software, so everything isn't written in code. In addition, you do have to understand how the operating system works because it's the equivalent of understanding the human body. Right? Got to understand how it gets sick. And minimum, you do need a 16 gig laptop or computer, just because virtual machines take a lot of resources. I use VMware Workstation, so that's what I have. And with that, we'll go ahead and delve further. Now, just a quick disclaimer: I do not reverse engineer. Right, so please don't ask me about IDA and Gidra, please. I'd rather Gidra out, but whatever. But you know, my goal is to be able to teach you enough or show you enough where you can conduct malware analysis on your own. And so we break analysis into two steps. First is static, right? Static being stationary. And so what we're usually looking at is encased strings. These are human readable characters that can give us some possible indicators what the sample is going to do. And some of the tools that we'll use is PStudio, Floss, and Kappa and Malcat. I'm demonstrating Malcat today and Kappa, as well as dynamic. So dynamic analysis is malware moves, we see where it does. Right, dynamic is literally moving. And so we'll check for network activities, where is it going to call out to? In addition, see what else it does, and we'll use Procmon, System4More, and Wireshark. I'm using Wireshark today. So, yeah. All right, now let's do a live demonstration. All right, I'll exit out of here. And so, this is my malware analysis home lab. I have a lot of my tools downloaded here, Malcat, FakeNet, as well as Kappa and some of the other tools. And so I'm going to demonstrate here. And so I have a known rat. This is one of my favorite rats. It's called Raton Rat. Once we'll open it, we'll go ahead and see what. And this is ideally free. I use the professional. I use the full version, where in short, you have full access to basically everything. And we'll just go ahead and click File, Open File. And then we'll dabble into, and already what we can see is, one, we'll get the file name as well as the file hash, which we can throw in the virus total. This is pretty common, and I shall show that later. In addition, we'll get the file description internal name, right? And so its internal is client for cryptos.exe, as well as the font version. In addition, legal copyright. This is not really necessary. And what Malcat does is that as it's analyzing the file, it has YAR rules that it fires off, which already fires off that this is browser stealer, right? So gather browser information in addition to stealing crypto, and is also a keylogger as well. The other interesting thing is, besides all these alerts, it deploys a ransom note, or at least it looks like it does. And it also creates persistence through scheduled tasks and register entry. And so we'll look at the strings here, and that is all what Malcat had fired off when it was looking at the file. And so it's obviously pretty clear to me that it was going to establish persistence through registry run as well as scheduled tasks. In addition, we see all those APIs. And this is a pretty good example. So this is going to use, it'll use PowerShell as well. And obviously this Telegram, all the other stuff. But I'm also going to be using Kappa because this already has Kappa embedded. So my theory is right, and we'll just let this thing run here. I should have let it run earlier, but fine. Come on, don't break on me. Oh, there we go. It's much faster. Any questions so far? Going too fast? All right, well, nope. And as based off of Kappa's analysis, obviously it does do system checks, right? Because what malware tends to do is that it anti-analysis. So point being, they don't want analysts looking at seeing its full potential. So it'll do its own checks. In addition, there's some base 64 stuff going on, as well as persistence through run, which we already saw in the strings. And so what I'll do here is, from here, first of all, make sure that your Wi-Fi is turned off, kindly, right? I do not want to infect St. Mary's University, or else we're calling CrowdStrike's incident response team. And I'm in trouble. So what I'll do here is we'll go ahead and, well, first of all, you got to make sure you have snapshots. This is pretty important so that once you can revert it to, something good. And this thing is, in addition, I'll go into settings here. Right. I set it to host only, right? This turns off the internet on your virtual machine. And if you don't do that, well, again, you're going to infect somebody, the entire network. And so a good way to do this is, let's just check the pictures of dogs. All right. As you can see, no internet connection, so we're safe. And so from here, I'll use FakeNet. Dang, I'm speeding fast today. Holy moly. So now, just a disclaimer. So FakeNet is a network emulator, right? The entire point is that it'll emulate network traffic. The entire point of really when we're using FakeNet is, again, we want to know where this malware is going to call out to, right? If it's known to a known malicious domain or known IP, yeah, well, we'll have to tell our security analysts and our security team to basically block those IPs. And so from here, I'm going to go into FakeNet. Yes, it's downloaded from the internet. And yes, this is in action. And so you can use procmon here, right? I don't need to, personally, just because, again, my entire goal is to see where it's, I don't care about that. To see where, again, it's worth calling out to. So for right here, right, again, making sure that there is no internet connection here. And I am going to run as administrator. Now, I've made this mistake before, right? When you don't run malware with administrative permissions, it will not run. This was the case when I forgot a previous sample that I looked at a couple months ago. And yeah, now, right? Dear God, don't infect St. Mary's University. And then we'll go ahead and run as administrator. And yes, I want that. And see, we already see a known domain here, and this is all kind of running right now. In addition, as you saw, it also spawned a network packet. Yeah, this thing's going crazy. Excuse me. And so I'll just let it run for a little bit here. Right around 5, 10, 15. All right, this is annoying me. And so now we'll just go into Wireshark. I already have Wireshark downloaded here. All right, so yay, Wireshark.
So that tool automatically created a Wireshark capture? Or?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Again, I made sure my internet is turned off. But and so from right here, this is not, I'm not concerned about this. You can look at statistics. We'll look at, well, at least I'm figuring out myself too. Conversations. All right, IP version 4. Obviously, these are kind of all my network addresses here. So none really suspicious yet. And then I'll look into further here. Some about port B. Interesting. This is my IP. So nothing. So then what I'll do is I'll look at DNS. So for those, is everyone familiar with DNS here? Just to kind of clarify. Right. So obviously, we saw a domain that, well, yeah. And so typically what you can do here is that once I found this here, I'll go into, I'll use central ops, right? Or a tool that you can use. It's called Whois. Is an option too. I'll type in the domain that I was looking at. Here. And obviously, yeah, whatever this is. And then, yep, this is interesting. But now, I've shown you analysis on my virtual machine, right? But I also set the file to virus total here too. And this is pretty common too. You don't have to do malware analysis unless, realistically, unless if it's a file that you haven't seen via virus total or some of the other open source tools, right? And already, bunch of URLs here. The intention is really to gather information what's on the machine here, and it'll send it over to the offensive guy. Oh man, I feel like I'm spoken a lot today. And then, yep, there's a detection for this IP address. which we saw via central ops. All right, cool, right? And you can also use it to look at behavior as well. So we had scheduled tasks, which is something that we saw in the strings. I don't think I fully showed that, but in addition, application layer protocol, anti-static analysis, and behavioral. Again, I don't reverse engineer here. And then we looked at further, whatever this is. And the other thing I also kind of want to point out too is that once we go back into strings right here, right? So it already queries a virus product as well as this PowerShell script. This is very commonly used today to disable Windows Defender, right? And one pretty good example is currently we've heard of. Is anyone familiar with the Gentleman Ransomware Group? Right? They use PowerShell scripts to disable Defender, and we saw it in Huntress's report here. And oh yeah, there it is. Whatever we saw here, we also saw in here as well, right? And so again, that was offensive, and attackers, they use these commands daily. The entire point is often to evade detection as well. But in most cases, especially with EDRs, your security tools, it should detect that PowerShell activity is happening as well. And then now we'll just magic, right? Malware, let's just do, okay, activated, screw it. Because let this run itself. Wait, dang your RAM. All right, it's cool. Power it on anyway. Why are we taking so long today? How's everyone doing? All right, and then and yeah, boom, malware is gone, like magic. And now here's another kind of use case if you don't feel like you want to use your own virtual machine. Because let's be real, I'm always scared of malware leaking from my machine, right? Probably some from weird 0-day, right? So what you can use is a sandbox. And one of my favorites currently is triage. Right. So this is a sandbox by some of the guys at Recorded Future. Hybrid analysis is a good one. That's one I started off with, and it uses CrowdStrike Falcon as the backend too. It'll automate the analysis for you. It'll have some indicators that'll fire up, but at least with triage, right, everything, you get to be a little bit more manual on it, right? So point being, you can, it'll run the malware for you, right? You can click around, scroll the internet from there, wherever. Just don't do crazy things. And then, obviously, it extracted the malware family here, as well as some C2 here. And then as we can already see, right, there's already some signatures that it fired off, including that it obviously uses PowerShell, which is something we already saw in the strings here. Executes drops file, and then it delays execution, as well as persistence through scheduled tasks here. And yay, we saw this inside when we were looking at manually, and as well as scheduled tasks. Now, these are very common ways that malware has established this persistence, and it'll continue that way as well. And then we could also look at, there's the DNS right here. In addition, who is, and then you can go into the replay monitor, right? Just let this thing run for 2 minutes if you really want to, but I don't really care for it. Unless you're looking at, for example, ransomware, which by default already spawns a ransomware note as well. And yeah, registry, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we'll just go back to my presentation here. Nice. Oh, already showed it. We're good. And so, how to build malware analysis lab. This is pretty important too, because especially when you're using, for example, Windows 11 to create the virtual machines, one, it's a pain, really, just because Microsoft has made it 10 times more harder. I do have a YouTube video for this via CyberXCook. That's my channel. You also want to disable Windows Defender and security. This is notorious to disable. Pain difficult. I've had to Microsoft intentionally makes you go through hoops. And then when I did a sample a couple months ago, Defender immediately blocked it. So then I ended up using Windows Defender remover by InfoSECAddict. And if you don't feel comfortable, use Remnux is another option. And then, as I've stated earlier, you do need to turn off the Wi-Fi on your virtual machine. Please, we'll have to call CrowdStrike's incident response team. And no share folders as well, because again, you want to minimize the risk to your computer as much as possible. And this is pretty important. And I have some additional resources as well. And then the sandbox, also YouTube, I forgot why I put it there, as well as the blog on the as well as the blog that I pulled for my presentation. And then I'll have my Substack and some of my favorite books that I recommend and some of the resources I forgot to put it on here. Look at TCM Security's Practical Malware Analysis Triage. That is written by Matt Killey. It's really great resource, and that's where I started malware analysis from. Malware analysis techniques, tricks for triage of adversarial software by Dylan Barker. That's another great one too. He also currently works on the threat research team at CrowdStrike, if I'm not mistaken, as well as evasive malware. That's where by Kyle. And then that's where I've picked up a lot of the analysis techniques. That's how I learned about Kappa and some of the other tools. How long do we have? Dang, I blasted through it quick. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, so I think it relates to credit history. How long or often do you spend time doing analysis at the kernel level?
So again, I don't reverse engineer. Just because, for one, I don't enjoy it, right? But this is for if you're just a regular analyst that's just looking at malware. This is kind of what you do. This is some of the did my virtual machine cracked? Hold on, delete that. But yeah, no, it's just no. There are cases where some of these tools don't work, right? And lots of it is encryption, right? In the case of ransomware, this is a pretty good example too. You don't know what files it'll encrypt, but generally speaking, you're looking at encrypting docs, Microsoft 365, exe files, executable files, MSI, everything. All right, so yeah, but that being said though, actually I might be able to pull, no I don't, it's okay. Especially with that tool that I used earlier, it also does a really good job where it has its own cloud. So then if it's a known or similar sample, it'll identify, for example, a Raton rat or another common one that threat actors use today, async rat as well as quasar rat. Quasar has also been known to be used by the DPRK, right? So yeah, I don't remember, but yes. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right, anyone else?
What was the Linux sandbox?
Remnux. What's that?
What are some of the favorite places to get malware samples?
Oh, you want me to show you my secrets? Okay. All right. No. Perfect question. because I can just look it up on the internet. Here, I'll show you. Boom. I look at it pretty frequently. CAPTCHA, I pray to God this is not flick fix. But no.
It's a matching game.
Dang it.
Bottom left.
Yeah, thanks. 1, 2, 3.
Top left.
Yeah. Dang. I'd be concerned if this was click fix. All right, this is. But yeah, no, there's plenty of samples that you can pull from here. Right. Password is generally infected. Right. Just make sure that when you're. And the other thing is, key principle, is that once you download the malware sample, you put it in your virtual machine, delete the sample, and send it to the bye-bye bin. Kindly. I would rather you not risking your computer being infected, but I've looked at numerous samples, so I'm fine. But yeah, so does that answer your question? Right. What's up?
Is this setup putting something in air gap?
It can, but I don't think I recommend it personally. I think preferably just keep it to a virtual machine with the internet turned off. Right, you'll be fine. I would, because the concern is when you're doing analysis in a network, is that you would, excuse me, I wouldn't want you infecting your other computers, especially when you look at, for example, what's the WannaCry ransomware? Oh, it is WannaCry ransomware, right? Or some Trojans that'll escape to your other networks too. So I'd rather you be safe than sorry. Yeah, otherwise call incident response team. But yeah. Anyone else? I guess unless I'm missing somebody. Okay, I guess that's it from my end, if no one has any questions. Yeah, I spilled all my secrets. All right, cool.